Conversations, bridging the sustainability gap. And today we are actually bridging the gap because today I'm actually in Singapore, although you wouldn't know from my background, but it looks like we're in the same house again.
And of course, I'm in Kuala Lumpur, and our guest, which we'll introduce in just a moment, is across a longer causeway, and that's of course out in Sarawak, my beloved hometown. Of course, we try to do this show monthly, covering different elements of sustainability and many topics around it. And there's so much to cover, right, around this topic. So this month, what are we talking about?
So, I mean, it's appropriate that we were discussing the different locations where we are, because this Causeway Conversations, we're discussing World Tourism Day 2023, or it's also known as UNWTO. It falls on September 27th under the theme of tourism and green investment, and it highlights the need for more and better targeted investments for the Sustainable Development Goals, the UN Roadmap for a Better World by 2030.
So now is the time for new and innovative solutions, not just traditional investments that promote and underpin economic growth and productivity. We're talking a bigger picture here, and we're here with Amelia Rosiman, the CEO of BE Sarawak, or Business Events Sarawak. Hi, Amelia. How are you?
Hi, Uha from Sarawak. I'm doing fine. Thank you very much. I'm glad to be here.
You look like you're also in the same house as us. How's the weather in Sarawak?
I think the weather now is very nice. It's sunny, but predicted to be raining today. But overall, it's wonderful.
Okay, so of course, as I was saying, that this is my hometown. Sarawak is my hometown, but maybe a little bit of history about BE Sarawak, because it's gone through so much and it's gone through some exciting announcements happening soon. But maybe tell us a little bit about the history behind the organization.
Thank you so much, Frida. Well, in early 2000s, the Sarawak government predicted that the future of tourism will be in business events. So they work towards developing Malaysia first convention bureaus and ultimately the industry. So the Sarawak Convention Bureau now is known as Business Events Sarawak. We were formed in 2006, and in the same year began developing Borneo Convention Center Kuching, which was completed on the 2009. Back then, our priority was to get as many business events and delegate as possible, because the main priority was to increase Sarawak visitors' arrival. But today, it's a different priority altogether. We are matured, and we realize that there are more to business events than visitors' arrival and spending. So, we have a huge purpose in the society. So we are now one of the 6 priority sectors listed in the post-COVID-19 development strategy 2030. This is our government 10 years policy to achieve economic prosperity, social inclusivity, and environmental sustainability by 2030. Yep, that's what I can share with you now, about
Well, thank you so much for sharing that.
And before that, Rianne, as well. If anyone has any questions, feel free to just pop that in, and we'll try our best to answer them. Well, Amelia will try her best to answer them. Sorry, Rianne.
Absolutely, yeah. No, we're not the experts here, so So I mean, Amelia, thanks again for joining us. And your organization's mission is to establish Sarawak as a leading business events destination, as you mentioned, in the ASEAN region by championing legacy impact. So, I mean, that obviously will hopefully deliver significant economic transformation, social development, heritage and cultural conservation, and also sustainable best practices by 2030. So could you just share a little bit more about what you mean by legacy impact?
All right. Legacy impact actually is a term that we adopt from the business events global industry. So what it means is that it's a positive long-term benefits driven by business event. Simpler definition is the long-term change after the events were held in the host destination. So if you really think about it, the main reason for the associations and other planners to host business events is because they wish to educate their community, make changes that are driven by knowledge, innovation, and connection. So, after 17 years in the business, when we decided to change our business event sector in 2019, we realized that, we are not just beneficial from the economic impact, from the delegate expenditure, from the tourism, but, like when you really talk to the organizer, actually what they're talking about is changes that they can make in their own sector, community, and also their country, or the host destination like in Sarawak. So from there we start developing a methodology, how we can validate, how we can monitor, and how we can measure. As of now, when you talk about global business event industry, I'm very pleased to say that Sarawak is one of the kind of like advanced destination that can come up with this kind of methodology, because a lot of destinations are still talking about legacy impact in terms of the PR, wise, or in terms of validating and monitoring only. But we have a methodology and a way of how we can measure it. So legacy impact for us, we have 5 pillars. One is sector, community, economy, environment, and governance. And we align this pillar with the 17 UN SDGs. And of course, the topic of the events that we are hosting will be following the post-COVID development strategy 2030, 6 key focus areas of Sarawak government, which is the manufacturing, agriculture, tourism, forestry, mining, services, and the 7 enabler, which is digital transformation, innovation, education, human capital, basic infrastructure, utilities, and transport, and also renewable energy. But then again, if you look at legacy impact and PCDS side by side, the impact, to the impact that we want to achieve is pretty much the same. First is economic, second is social, third is environmental. So it's a bless for us that, we are totally aligned with our government 10 years policy. And at the same time also, we, pretty much advance in business events, in developing of the legacy impact.
Right. Can you share some example? Yeah, can you share examples? How do you incorporate conservation and sustainable best practices into the events?
Well, if you're talking about particular in organizing an event, we are still in the beginning stages of transforming our sector. However, there are few initiatives that are in the planning that we can implement immediately this year, such as the certification of our partners and venue from Global Sustainable Tourism Council, GSTC. So our target this year is to have 60 certified partner and venues. I mean, of course, we believe that by adopting sustainable practices, we can reduce our costs, enhance our reputations, attract more attendees and sponsors, and then comply, in some of the, ethical standards and global industry. But I think at the stage where we are now, we can choose, like for now, we can do a small part of our sector, which is, adopting the sustainability best practices, to our BE planner. I think, we also need to look at it in the bigger picture, because big impact versus small impact. Yeah. So I think there's a lot more discussion needed, when we talk about. I just want to share in 2021 when we participated in Global Destination Sustainability Index. So we thought that, okay, tourism board, PE Sarawak, and ministry, we collaborate. Let's do this together. And then the moment we look at the assessment, then we realize, oh man, we can't do it on our own. Because when you talk about the assessment of environmental and the assessment on the social, it's beyond us. It's beyond even the tourism ministry in Sarawak. So, we can't do it alone. So at the end, we have to pull all of the ministries and agencies to help us with the assessment for environment and social. But then again, there's another issue come up, because because most of the report and record are for Malaysia, not so much for Sarawak.
I see.
So, but then the assessment is quite tricky. So at the end of the day, we managed to pull it out, and then we were glad that for our first assessment there were 73 destinations. We are not the number 73, thank God. So Malaysia and Sarawak, we did quite well. So
Right.
we are on the 63, I think, but still very good. And I think from there, it just made me think, you know,
Mm.
I'm in business event sector. We can do as much as we can, but I
Right.
think if we really want to make a changes, I think the higher authority from the federal side, or the higher authority needs to take in charge, because
Right.
I think only then that we can really achieve sustainability across.
Okay. Right. I want to bring up this question about workforce, right? I think like when we talk about sustainability, they always look at the people, the planet, the profit. So I want to bring up the people part, right? So the global tourism workforce will, I guess in hospitality will require millions of hospitality graduates annually between now until 2030. So a further, and this is on a global scale, further 800,000 jobs a year will require specific vocational training, right? So how is Sarawak addressing the hospitality workforce?
Well, hospitality, as you know that there's majority of the academia in Malaysia do not have a specific program for business event sector, which they still combine it with the hospitality and tourism. But nevertheless, we have been sitting in the board of advisors and board of studies in most of the university that we work with. So through the collaboration, recently we gave 3 scholarships to UCSI University Sarawak students to take their event management diploma. And
Right.
then soon, I think next week, we are going to signing with 6 universities, 6 MOUs, not just from Sarawak, but also from the West Malaysia. And then, of course, we also have certification and accreditation. Like being in industry, I mean, a lot of people have a lot of experience, but it's good for them also
Mm.
to be certified internationally. And as of today, Sarawak has the highest number of industry partners certified in Malaysia by 120 industry partners.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
And we keep continuing doing, giving the certification and also subsidy for our industry partners to be certified.
Right.
That one
Absolutely.
is the creation of job. I don't know if you realize or not. Whenever we report our sales performance, how many events that we have won, what are the total economic impact. We also actually set a KPI, how many job creation, that we need to achieve every year. So as of 2006 to 2022, we have created almost 300 jobs for the local people. So every time, so means that yearly, it's not just about gaining the KPI of the events that we secured, but also job creation is very important also. Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, again, kind of looking to the future and, with increasing jobs, but now looking at decreasing, I mean, the need to reduce emissions provides an investment opportunity of $24.7 trillion in the green building sector of emerging market cities by 2030, which include hotels, resorts, and restaurants, and which account for $1.5 trillion. So what is Sarawak doing in terms of new solutions and technologies to decarbonize the sector, as well as to ensure climate resilient infrastructure through adaptive solutions?
I think I said earlier, I think we are still in the very early stage for this. I think if when you look at the formula to even the simple thing like carbon footprint,
Yeah.
I'm not sure. Like I've been going around, talk to a lot of universities, where they show us, we know that the formula is there, but the challenges is the multiplier, because the multiplier it needs to come from like from Malaysia. Only then you can adopt that multiplier and for every other state or for every other sector. But like I said, I think it's not only Sarawak. I think Malaysia overall, we are still in the early stages. like to really go full speed with this. I think some of the developed destination, they are still in the midst of working this out. So, the way I look at it, like from sharing, my experience, leading the Global Destination Sustainability Index in 2021, we still have a lot of work to do. But nevertheless, like we still can do our part in terms of business event sector as our contribution for the greater good that will be bigger impact that it was driven, it should be by the higher authority. That's my uh, opinion. All right.
Okay. Digitalization and innovation programs are strategic priority to support particularly young people and women, which are critical to upskill the tourism sector's workforce. Is there anything that BIS Sarawak or the government is doing to support and incentivize entrepreneurship and generate opportunities for innovation, which is highly needed in the tourism sector?
Well, in context of business event, internally, we are in the midst of converting our services to digital friendly to serve our clients and stakeholders efficiently. So we foresee by end of 2024, we will complete this transition. Externally, under our capacity development and digitalization department, we are reaching out to our industry partners to embrace digitalization and new technologies in making the event organizing better and enhance delegate experience. Because like for us, we believe in face-to-face meeting. So hybrid is good. It's good. It still can support the face-to-face meeting, but not replacing, the face-to-face. So, however, there are technology and digitalization are huge,
Right.
are huge. So, we can focus on what we can work with. There are few initiatives that are in progress and that we have implemented. The first one is the Tribe Marketplace. This is the online system by BI Sarawak to promote opportunities for business events, and all partners have a chance to submit their proposals and win business fairly. Because last time, remember when you used to email everyone, asking for 3 quotation and so on. So now, if they email us, we will not entertain. They have to go back to the system and utilize the system. And we also have association incubator, Business Events Sarawak Association Center helps new and regional associations to grow in Sarawak and given access to mentorship, resources, and networking opportunities. And also, I think the one that I really want to talk about, I think that worthwhile to share is the targeted convention and exhibitions. On the now we go back to the legacies. So you all know that World Congress of Innovation and Technology (WCIT) will be in Kuching, and that congress has included Forum for Women in Tech, She Tech Forum, and a startup village program to incentive entrepreneurship and create awareness of technology in the business space. So what I'm trying to say over here is that perhaps that indirectly, like our support to the sector is when it comes to securing an event where legacy will benefit that sector. In
Right.
this case, the technology and digitalization. So WCIT is not the only conference that we have secured. So we have a few more in line, which we will reveal it a bit later.
Okay.
Need to be made properly. But rest assured that when it comes to legacy, the impact that you need to see is a long-term impact. So the WCIT She Tech Forum in the Startup Village program is the legacy, is one of the legacy of this conference, and it will be a long term.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. I mean, you've just shared that there's going to be a number of global events being held in Sarawak itself. So, how do you ensure a balance between the business events and also, how does that seep into tourism and responsible tourism?
Yeah, as you're aware that business events contribute to tourism sector, and when it comes to legacy impact, responsible tourism, and sustainability, if the coin has 3 faces, those 3 have the same things. They talk about the same thing actually. They talk about the progress and development of the sector. They talk about the social benefit, to the host community. They talk about trade. They talk about investment, environmental, and also political in changing in governance and positive policies. But I also sit in the committee for the responsible tourism in Sarawak, and I'm also leading in the developing of the legacy impact, and also this the global sustainable, global sustainability index. So when I look at the framework, the objective and the outcome, they are not far off from each other. Actually, it's pretty much the same. Yeah. So as when we did a survey for our events, 70% of delegates will be staying, to explore the tourism part of Sarawak.
Yeah.
And of course, like our Sarawak Tourism Board, they have their own responsible tourism unit that come up with a lot of products, developments, with the local community together with our ministry. So from our side, we have included all of the product and services in the pre and post tour program.
Right. Okay. You know, how does Sarawak, right, stand out in the ASEAN marketplace and as the business events destination of choice? How do we market ourselves?
We market ourselves, of course, like we using legacy impact as our unique selling point, as it's proven for the past 2 years. Our success rate in bidding of event is 100%.
Wow.
So we have not lost a single bid, and then we have overachieved our target by 111%. And
Wow.
when it comes to the total economic impact, job creation, tax earned, which is about 168%. Yeah. So it worked. It
It
worked.
works.
And
It worked.
and
And then proof also, and the recent winning that we have, for the International Water World Congress Association,
Right.
that legacy is the winning point why they choose Malaysia and Sarawak, and
Mm.
it has created a history for Malaysia because it will be the first in ASEAN. With that, because that event will be the first time to be hosted in ASEAN, and it's in Kuching,
Right.
Malaysia. Yeah.
absolutely. Well, that's fantastic to hear such wonderful, numbers in your bid success. So, I mean, do you focus on particular sectors or industries when you're bidding?
When we bidding, we look into the six key focus area of the PCDS 2030, and also the seven enabler. And also that's how that's how we do our research when it comes to the topic and the legacies. I know I talk a lot about legacy, but what I'm trying to say over here is that the whole ecosystem and the way how we develop business event now, it's so much different from before.
Right.
It's all based on the legacy impact. So basically, we changed the whole ecosystem. Yeah.
Right.
So that's why there's a lot of legacy involved in this conversation right now.
Right. And this is the final question, Amelia. I know, I want to ask like what's happening with some of what can we expect from BSRA in the near future? We know 2028, we've got an event. Oh my goodness, 5 years down the road, we have an event. And next month we got WCIT. But what else can we expect from BSRA happening soon?
Well, with the expansion of the newly expanded Colonial Convention Center Kuching,
Mhm.
and also with legacy impact, like hopefully we are fully developed by 2025, you will see like more international convention and exhibition with more legacy impact driven business events. And also I think what you also can expect not just from the Sarawak but from business event sector. I think it's time for business event to have its own limelight.
Right.
as its own sector. We are no longer a small unit under the tourism. We are our own sector, and we can contribute not just to tourism but to all sector.
Mm.
And we can also generate a lot more legacies, long-term positive from all of the events that are being hosted for the good of our people in country.
Right. So for those of you who haven't been to Sarawak for a business event, it's about time. And then, of course, thanks to the wonderful work done by Amelia, Rosman, and the team from B Sarawak. Thank you for being with us. I look forward to seeing you again soon. Rianne, any thoughts?
Yes, thank you so much, Amelia. And it's really wonderful to hear, the planning, the thought process into the legacy impact that you've shared. And I can't wait to hear all the other more global business events that you're going to be holding in Sarawak.
Right. And of course, this has been the World Tourism Day special, which is happening on September 27th. And we've been speaking to Amelia Rosiman, the CEO of B Sarawak, and Causeway Conversations with Frida Liu and
Rianne Lovell Boland.
bye. Thanks,
Bye.
Amelia.
Thanks, Amelia.
Bye.